to?
I don't even know. It's his day, dude. Did you just cast a spell on me, dude?
You tell me how do your lips feel?
They feel a little bit chapped. Oh, shit.
Exactly.
The Texas Chainsaw Massacre is not the first film of its kind, but it did have the daunting task of preceding pretty much every cornerstone slasher film we'd label as the classics. And like, you can argue, the Psycho came out in the years before, and then there's all these random films, but I'm talking like the cornerstone classics. Halloween came out in 1978. Friday the 13th, 1980. My Bloody Valentine a year after that. Nightmare on Elm Street, 1984, before all those big guys. Texas Chainsaw Massacre came out swinging, you know what I mean? Swing as the first of these big names, and not only helped define a genre for contemporary viewers, but pushed a psychological thematic edge rarely seen done as effectively in slashers that have followed. I think a strong stance made by slashers is that they're typically very reliant almost completely on the big bad boogeyman. It's up to the main big bad to inspire all of the threat and horror within a film. There's not a whole lot spooky about Haddonfield. It's a quiet, almost characterless suburban town. It's up to Michael Myers to actually make that whole movie scary. Texas Chainsaw Massacre has an iconic big bad, sure, but it doesn't rely solely on Leatherface to put people on edge. There's this dark, foreboding grit in every aspect of the film. Starting out, a group of teens ride out to the middle of nowhere to investigate vandalism or something at a gravesite, and of course, they decide this will be a great little mini vacation spot. That's, of course, why wouldn't they? So they pick up this hitchhiker, and he turns out to be this total freakazoid, and honestly, it's as wacky, me trying to describe it, as it is if you would have just watched it, so just go watch it. The summary is, he's a really stand-up guy. Anyways, they politely said goodbye to him, and then they go try to get gas, because of course they're running low on gas, of course they are. And the gas station guy's, one of those types where it's like, all right, we don't got gas here, stranger. We don't know your kind, outsider. He's got one of those kind of vibes going on. And the whole car ride, the kid in the wheelchair is talking about, in very strange depth about how to, butcher pigs or something. And it's like all this starts to add up. And you get that things are already plagued with this oppressive and eerie feeling that the vibes are not quite right. And we haven't even seen Leatherface yet. Then people start seeing Leatherface. And I don't mean to spoil anything here, but he starts killing people. I have a lot of appreciation for Leatherface. He's a great main antagonist, and he's still a unique standout of his genre. We'll take Ghostface, for example. He is an accurate imitation of what a lot of slasher villains are portrayed as. Quick, calculated, stealthy, dark, cloaks and stuff. Leatherface, on the other hand, carries on the oppressive grit set early on in the film with its large, gruesome appearance. He's not slinking around in a black cloak. He's got a big old yellow apron on. His kills aren't clean or precise. In fact, they're usually kind of sloppy. Sometimes doesn't get the job done with one swing, so people are flunching on the ground and stuff. And his, ultimate weapon of choice, the Vroom Vroom song. His unsettlingly homey attire mixed with his rustic barbarism likely represents the phobic misunderstanding of rural life post-industrialism. But that's a little wordy. He's a scary guy. He's scary. This is coupled well with the unwelcoming or straight up insane profiles introduced before. That kind of it does a good job of matching the thematic build-up with what the killer actually is and what the killer kind of represents. The bloodshed and visceral unease hit their climax at the dinner table scene. Have you ever been at a social gathering somewhere that you felt obligated to be at? It's the most generic sounding question ever. You're kind of just sitting there and, you're already not wanting to be there, and then your uncle starts making, not so subtle racist comments about your cousin's new boyfriend, and then grandpa starts asking what you're doing with your career, and anyways, everybody's been in something like that. Think of that, except for it's as physically uncomfortable as it is socially, and the film makes you feel it. It's a fantastic scene, one of my favorite in any horror flick, let alone slasher film. Even the kind of bad remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's even good in that one. It is one of the most memorable scenes in a horror movie ever, and certainly the most surreally distressing scene in a slasher film. Texas Chainsaw Massacre will seem, reasonably dated in some aspects, but it still retains that grimy grit and dark dissonance. I am so good at alliterations. That make it my favorite slasher. It's a good place to start if you're sitting everybody down for spooky season and you're going through the classics, because what it does is you're able to watch that and see all of those cornerstone characteristics established within the film. You've got the slow, steady build-up, the killings one by one, the final confrontation and potential escape. It's all there. It's all kind of setting up that formula for you. You'll see a reference to the hitchhiker in Friday the 13th. You guys played Resident Evil 7? Remember the dinner thing at the beginning? See what I'm saying? Anyways, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, my favorite slasher, not only for defining a genre essentially, but setting up those definitions in kind of neat and creative ways as well. Go see the movie. That concludes this presentation.